Hey, Zero West Collective. It's Q&A time. Roll the intro. I'm Andrew from Zero West Watches down on the South Coast, and I just want to thank the collective and many other people who wrote to us through social media channels. We put a post out last week asking if you had any burning questions, things you wanted to know about the brand, to get in touch. And we have had a lot of questions through, so much so in a couple of weeks I may do a second video. But let's get on with the questions that I have in front of me for today. And let's start off. Steve Richardson, he asked, what's your involvement with the restoration of Spitfire AA810? Well, we were very fortunate last year to meet Tony Hoskins, who's heading up the restoration of this fantastic historic PRU photo reconnaissance Spitfire. We were fortunate enough, as part of being a restoration partner, to acquire some of the Merlin engine metal, which we have included in our two new watches, the S5E and the S6E Spitfire Escape. But our contribution is to restore the cockpit instrument panel. We actually have the original one here. I will probably put some photos on the feed over the coming weeks so you can see what we have here at the studio. But to restore a Spitfire costs around £3 million. And obviously, we're just very fortunate to play our small part in restoring contributing to restore this historic plane, which should be flying in the next year or two. We'll keep you posted through the channels. Hope that answers your question, Steve. Simon Bowen, your brand champions the birth of theme watches. Would you ever consider a non-British theme, and what would it be? Well, yes, our whole brand is built around commemorating great British engineering achievements. Myself and Graham have spoke at length over the years about whether we would deviate from that, and it would have to be something truly, truly special for us to step outside of that arena. And well, let's see. It would have to be really special. Let's see what the future holds. Tony Morrison, which is your favorite watch in the range? And that's so difficult. I do get asked this question quite a lot. It's a bit like asking which one of your kids is the most attractive. The M1 Mosquito 41 millimeter is a fantastic watch for so many reasons. It has this beautiful textured dials, applied numerals, and the historic metal in the back, the Merlin disc in the back, which I'll come on to later. There's another question that refers to it. That is a beautiful watch. And of course, the one I'm wearing today is a particular favorite of mine. That is the contemporary take on the Dirty Dozen watch, the S5E Spitfire Escape. It's a beautiful, clear, tactical watch with the fantastic little color countdown, and the back, the loom in the back with the Moss code is a bit of fun, but plays a historical significance to the date of the Great Escape through the tunnel, Harry. So that's one of my favorite watches. Blake Williams, do you have your own watch collection? Well, I used to. Graham, the other half of Zero West, does have a great watch collection with some real classic, gorgeous watches. I did have a collection, as I said, but when we started the brand in 2016, I had to part ways with many of those watches to help fund the business. And of course, only wear a Zero West now. So even if I did have other watches, it wouldn't get any wrist time at all. Next question is from Clive Andrews. How difficult is it to work with some of the historical material you get? It's very difficult. Some material we actually have to turn away because we're just not able to work with it. And just to give you an example, to go back to one of the other earlier questions about which one is my favorite watch, the M1 Mosquito has some Merlin engine metal displayed in the back, suspended underneath a reverse printed sapphire crystal. It's a beautiful disc that's been machined. That took a local company that we work very closely with 2 weeks just to cut the discs out from the Merlin engine metal. The wire cut everybody, well, it's very easy to look at these things and to glance over them and appreciate them from the way that we've displayed them. But we do want to go to some lengths over the coming months to really inform people of the lengths that we go to and the technical challenges that we come across to actually bring this material into our timepieces. So that's a great question. Paul McNabb, when's the Concord Watch being released? Um, are we doing a Concord Watch at some point? There are lots of rumours floating around and have been for a while. It is on our radar, so to speak, and I can't say if it is or is not going to happen. But watch this space. We have some exciting things in the pipeline, as we always do. We're working on a 3-year rolling design process, so there's a lot of work going on in the background, and these things always take a lot longer than you want them to, but I'm sure it'll be worth it in the end. Malcolm Tier, I don't ask when your next watch releases. I'm already down to one kidney. I was thinking, Malcolm, of setting up a GoFundMe page. We set it up next week. Maybe we can relieve you of not having to donate another kidney. But I will keep you posted, and it was great to see you recently. Darren Roberts, I'm very familiar with the story of how the brand started. So not so much a question, but do you still have the mock-ups you sent to Graham whilst responding to his email? Would you like to set up a watch brand? So for those that don't know the story, Graham designed this fantastic, beautiful 3D render of a watch body in 2016, and he sent it to me to see what did I think of this watch case. And instead of replying, it did look amazing, saying, "Oh yeah, it looks like this. I designed him a dial and a logo, and I put it all into this case and emailed it back to him." And he just replied, "Do you want to set up a watch brand?" It was a bit tongue in cheek, but that's really what ignited the initial talks that led on to Zero West. I do have that visual somewhere, and again, a bit like the instrument cockpit for Spitfire AA810, I will get it on the social media feeds over the coming weeks, maybe month, to give you a better insight of where the brand started and what the initial ideas were for the brand. Andy Horton, why do you do limited productions runs? That was something we always decided from the outset. It was about making them collectible, keeping them really limited. We were also designing each watch individually, and it was just really trying to make the brand special. And then, not the first watches, but about 4 or 5 watches in, that's when we started introducing the historic metal. There's only a finite amount of that. So again, that really just reinforced the limited edition of the brands. And we also sell direct. So we're not selling through retailers. We don't really have any commitments to that side of the business. So we can keep things small, special, and just revolve the range around as and when they sell out. You also asked, would we consider doing any reissues? We get asked an awful lot of this question. We still get phone calls for past models like the L1, the S4, S4 Blackout, the original H2, the LS1 Bullhead. Yes, we do get asked a lot, but it's not something we would do. If we say we're going to make 50 or 100 or 20 of a model, that's how many we're going to make, and that's how many we're going to stick to. It's part of the appeal of the brand. Are there any memorable moments since you started the brand? Yes, there are lots, and I'm sure if Graham was here, I know this would be one of his most memorable moments. And it was when we launched the LS2 Bullhead chronograph, which commemorated the first vehicle to go over 200 miles an hour at Bewley Motor Museum, where the sunbeam, which this watch commemorated, is housed. And we chose that as a subject because our boathouse design studio used to be a garage, and the guy that owned it, George Gray, was a famous paneling expert, and he was responsible for working on the original vehicle. In fact, when the Sunbeam, Golden Arrow, and Bluebird got restored, all got restored. They were all restored here in Emsworth before they went back to Bewley. So it was really fitting for us and an honour to be able to go to the museum when it was closed in an evening, have an event where people travelled far and wide to come and watch us unveil this beautiful engineered watch, this LS2 chronograph, alongside the the Sunbeam. Amazing evening. We've got another question. Oh, when will there be another collective meeting? I'm sure there'll be one later on in the year. We're thinking maybe October. As soon as I've got a date, it will be out on the social media feeds, and we'll have an event here at the studio. Uh, Another question from Andy. He has asked a lot of questions. Could we explain the process of how long it takes to design a watch dial? Well, that's really interesting. A bit like the watches, because we're working on long timeline from when we initially decide to make a themed watch. Quite often we will design the dial over a period of 2 or 3 weeks, a concentrated period. We will park it for a week or two, maybe a month, while we're working on other stuff, and then we'll revisit it. It's really important that we get everything right. We're incredibly, I don't know what the word is, on it. Anal is the right word, maybe. But it's really important that every detail and every colorway and a lot of the detail that just gels a watch style together is there. And it's basically myself and Graham's combined 60 years of experience of design and engineering that we're pouring into these watches. So it's massively personal to both of us, and we're very appreciative that it connects to people like yourselves in the group. Yes, it's part of the process of designing these watches that we find really, really enjoyable. Where does the assembly of the watches take place? Well, I think we're quite unusual as a British brand that we actually invested in a workshop. We have our own watchmaker at the back of the boathouse with all the equipment, and all the watches are assembled here. All the parts are made somewhere different. We get the movements direct from Switzerland. We have great connections with Salita there, and everything comes here. We QC everything here, and then we, in our workshop at the back, our watchmaker builds every watch individually. Everything's tested here. We've got some new testing equipment just coming, and we're very fortunate to be able to do that here. And it's very important for myself and Graham to have this hands-on approach. When you've spent so long designing each individual part of the watch, of the timepiece, to have that control over the quality and check how it goes together rather than box shifting or getting it from a white label company. And then you've written HM607. If you know, you know. Right now, I'm sure there's going to be lots of people that are going to be Googling that. I can't really say any more than that. I'm sure your own research will find out. That's for those that didn't get it, it's XM607. Little clue for maybe possibly a future release. So yeah, go do your research. Mark Edwards, how would you feel if Zero West turned up on the Antiques Roadshow in 50 years from now? Well, that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. Quite often, I amuse myself when I'm signing the individual letters that go out with each of the watches that my signatures aren't particularly coherent. And I sometimes wonder that if I was drafted into give the authentication of a letter, whether I'd actually be able to tell whether it was my signature or not. But it would be fantastic. And I'd like to think that a lot of customers that have kept their timepieces mean something special to them, and especially the watches that we've built with historical material in them. It's very, very important to keep these stories alive. And I'm sure from the many customers that have told us, these are going to be handed down through the generations. So it's something that's massively rewarding for myself and Graham and the brand. Carl Palmer, when are you going to do a rotating bezel diver style watch? That's a great question, Carl. The answer to that is there's lots of things that we have actually designed in the background that haven't come to market yet. So never say never. These things, as I mentioned before, always take a lot longer than you want them to. The deployment clasp on the new watches, we had a prototype for that probably around 3 years ago. So yeah, we've got some exciting plans this year. We've seen a lot of new things that have been on the drawing board for a while. The integrated rubber strap, the stunning new metal bracelet, and the brand new 42mm case design that Graham's spent an awful long time designing. It is really, really something special if you've not seen it in the metal, so to speak. Andrew Lustig, any thoughts on using material from a World War II tank for one of your timepieces? For example, the Churchill Crocodile. Again, it is something we've thought about. We have like quite a tight criteria when we're designing watches. British engineering achievement. There has to be a human element to the story, and there has to be a time and place so that we can geographically tie everything together, research that event, and bring the design attributes and the whole story to the dial. It's very, very important. It's part of our DNA. So, yes, we have talked about the possibility of a tank watch. But as I said, we're working on a 3-year rolling storyline of watches that we want to bring out. And there's so many great stories to pull from. So, as I say, watch this space. You never know, but we have some very, very exciting things for the future that will sit really well alongside the exciting watches that we currently have on offer. Mark Edwards, where do you see the company in 5 to 10 years? And are there any artifacts too rare to put in your watches or even move from the boathouse? Well, myself and Graham have a vision for the brand, and that vision for the brand is really to keep it small. Because as soon as it changes, myself and Graham and the team will stop doing the things that we love to do, that we're passionate about, and we will end up being more general. And so it's really important that we stay focused on our core beliefs with the business, and that doesn't change. It's what people have bought into and believe in. It's what we believe in. And so keeping a small range of watches that are changing with new, fresh stories every year is exciting for us. And I believe it's exciting for the people that have invested their hard-earned money and time into investing in the brand. So we're very grateful, and it's something that we want to continue. In terms of artifacts being too rare to put into the watch, there is some rare stuff coming at some point in the future, um, and and that would be exceptionally rare. I wish I could say more at this point, but all you need to know is it's really exciting, and I can't wait to share some of this. We're going to be more open as we move forward, sharing some of these stories with you. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on the social media and the MailChimps that we send out. Sam Remlance, when are you sneaking into HMS Victory to pinch around? Okay, when are we going to pinch some material for HMS Victory? It's just down the road from us. And we have some stuff here from HMS Victory. I can tell you that. Will it appear in a watch at some point? I can't say. But we do have some exciting stuff here. Like I said earlier, we're not short of ideas. We're time poor, but the excitement pushes us through with everything that we're doing right now. Oh, Ryan York, who would you love to work with, and would you change anything on any of the projects? There are some I think you believe with materials. I think that's what you're referring to. Yes, there is. Some of that we have. So, as I said earlier, I don't want to keep going on about how exciting future projects are, but everything's always exciting. Is there anything we change from any of the projects, past projects? And I think no, and that's not. No, that's just, I think the design process and living with the watches and the themes before we bring them out is a period of time by which it allows us to feel that the watch that we put out is the best watch we can possibly put out, and we truly believe every timepiece. We have had a few instances in the past where we haven't launched a watch because there's been some things that we weren't happy with. I'm sure if we had an outside investor or an outside marketing company, they'd say, "Is it good to go? Could you sell it?" And the answer would be, "Well, yes," but it's just not how we envisioned it. It's not the vision that we set out when we penciled out that design, or when we followed it through the design process. So, yeah, nothing gets released until we're truly happy with it. We're very personally tied into each and every one of the timepieces that we bring out. So it's important that we've done the journey right. And please, can we have 20 more S4s? Going back to Andy Horton's question, no, unfortunately not. They're limited. We do get phone calls from people asking us, can we just do one more? But that's not the case. Look, thanks again for all the questions that have come through. I hope that's answered some of the questions and you found some of that interesting. As I said, I've got another couple of sheets with just as many different questions on, and I hope to do those videos and release them out to you in the next month or so. But thanks for watching and really appreciate your support for the brand.